Hey, good Tuesday morning, folks. This is MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. Just a couple of things to talk about in weather here. We do have a shift to much lower humidity on the way over the next 24 hours. I talked about that a little bit yesterday. I'll show that to you. And before that, there's still a flare-up of thunder showers that will probably develop scattered in nature across, I would call it about the southeast half of lower Michigan. Could be late morning into the afternoon hours. We had a little bit of severe weather, isolated cases yesterday. In fact, in Oakland County, a tree fell on a truck and one minor injury from a driver. But isolated thunderstorms yesterday were severe in isolated spots. Probably not the case today. Today, a lesser amount on the flare-up of thunder showers, lesser amount as far as the intensity of those. All right, so on the radar right now, nothing going on. This would take some humidity and some heat for the thunder showers to build up, and I'll show that to you on radar forecast here in just a moment. But this is the current satellite image, and you can see there are places with some sunshine and there are places with some thick clouds. So still a lot of low-level moisture around, and that's what my favorite short-term model is indicating could flare up into a few thunder showers. Stephanie, too soon to predict Saturday morning weather still? Right now, Saturday morning looks pretty good. We'll get into that here in just a second. Here's the radar forecast, and we're into 11 o'clock and noon, 1, 2, 3, and so this is what you see, and this maybe isn't a real good depiction of how the coverage will be, but I think it's a good depiction of where it will happen. So take a line from maybe Tawas to Mount Pleasant to Grand Rapids, south and east, and the farther south and east you are, the greater the chance you'll have of a quick, 15-minute, half-hour downpour into the afternoon and evening hours. This is 7 o'clock this evening, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and then as we lose the heating of the day, that'll be it for the thunder showers. That'll also be it for the high humidity. This is the dew point. Now, remember, dew point is kind of one of the least understood components to weather, but it's very important to us meteorologists. It's important to you too, because it's a great way to see if the air has a lot of moisture in it. So the main thing, don't worry about what it is, although I do have a video where I drink a beer with you, so if you search dew point beer MLive Torregrossa, you'll probably see a pretty good explanation, hopefully. But just to know that dew points in the 70s are very humid, and we've had that in the past week or so at times. Dew points in the 60s, the humidity is coming down. When you get to the low 60s, we tend to, in Michigan, think it feels drier. And when you get to dew points in the 50s, it feels very refreshing. When you get to dew points in the 40s, it's a very dry type air. Hey, good morning, Bill Martin. So let's take a look at the dew point forecast, for today. And you can still see that there's enough humidity and moisture in the air, and that's what would cause the showers to flare up. Hey, Manuel Martinez, missed the days of the Kingfish Dockside in Bay City. Yes, that was a good restaurant. That was a fun time over there on the Saginaw River. Okay, so we go into 12 o'clock today, and what you can see is kind of humid in the southeast in Ann Arbor and Detroit, and then you get to northwest of Saginaw and Bay City, and you start to get into much drier air. So there's kind of a break line right here, and notice that's also where the showers and thunderstorms end. So when you are into the blue, you're probably dry enough for no showers and thunder showers, and into the yellow could still be the flare-up. This is this afternoon, and notice that the drier air continues to filter into southeast Michigan, still hanging on to humidity in the Detroit, Ann Arbor area, but overnight tonight that should come down. This is midnight, and look at what we have. We have some weird pockets, but we have some very dry air with dew points in the 40s from Grand Rapids northward, and still a little humid. And so it's going to take about 24 more hours for the humidity, the high humidity, to get out of the far southeast part of the state. Now, what's happening weather-wise? High pressure is building in. Hey, good morning, Jeannie Osborne from Elk Rapids. Good morning, Tim Ross from Lansing, and Alfred Dorsey. Good morning. Nice to see you this morning. Okay, so this is Thursday, and that's about as good as it gets. When you get the high pressure center over us, that means sinking air, that means sunshine, that means low humidity. Okay? And it's going to last a while. Now, our U.S. model, which I'm not a real fan of, with the upgrade, shows some spotty showers on Saturday. The European shows none of that. If it would have happened, it would be real quick, isolated things. And high pressure still kind of in control into Sunday and into Monday. And really no weather system with rain in the offing. How good is my golf game? Terrible, but I'm working on it. I took some lessons actually from a guy out at the, what's it called? The Mid-Michigan Golf Center, and he helped me tremendously. Now I just got to have time to get out there. All right, now, so here's the dew points in the long term. Okay, remember, we're in the 60s now, and what we're focusing on is this is drier air, and as we go into Wednesday, the drier air trying to move into the far south, kind of stubborn, but then by Wednesday night and Thursday it finally does. And what I want to show you is that we really don't have a long-lasting humid spell for the next 10 days or so. There's a dew points into the 60s next week for a day or two, but then look, we're starting to see that northwesterly flow and starting to see, at least for the next 10 days, less humidity rather than more humidity. So we've got a really nice stretch of weather on the way. So there's your forecast for today. We'll have a flare-up of some thunder showers scattered in nature as we go into the late morning and afternoon hours, southeast half of lower Michigan. Northwest half, if you feel like the humidity has gone down, you probably will not get into that thunder shower activity. Grand Rapids, you're kind of on the border there. The humidity continues to go down, and we settle into some great looking weather over the next 4 or 5 days. Enjoy morning low temperatures in the 50s and low 60s, and afternoon high temperatures in the 70s and low 80s. There you go. That's the forecast. Thanks for joining me this morning. Hey, nice crowd this morning. Thanks for all the input there. And this is MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. We'll see you back here tomorrow.